Hi guys, welcome to our Azure Learning YouTube channel. In this video, we're gonna talk about the Azure Private Link. Why that private link, how people are using in their infrastructure, and how we can utilize it, and when that private link we should use. This is what literally today we're gonna see. Okay, so let's coming into the part. If you have a two different network, see in this particular case, sales is your one of your network and marketing is your one of your network. These two network wanted to communicate each other means VNet peering is the option which you can enable here. Okay, but here the drawback is IP overlap should come. Okay, see here that CIDR destination is 10.0.0/16. Similarly, here also 10.0.0.0/16. If these two server had the same endpoint, then how we can access privately? How these two server can communicate privately? So for that, I'm just going to configure the private link. Okay, so to expose the connectivity, we should have two things. One is private link, another one is private endpoint. These two things we should have. Okay, so if this server gonna communicate to this one means here we need to configure the private endpoint. Okay, so here the private endpoint IP is 10.0.1.1.5. Okay, so using this private endpoint, this server can access these VMs, but here the drawback is we cannot directly access the VM. So to access the VM, we should have the load balancer here. Okay, by our load balancer, we can hit request, and then this one would redirect the request to the destination. Okay, but the main important thing is we should link this. We should expose the connectivity. We should approve. Then only this VM can communicate to this VM privately. Okay, see here both network had the same endpoint, same CIDR range 10.0.0/16, 10.0.0/16. Even though this two server can communicate privately because of this private endpoint and private link service. This is what literally today we're gonna expose. So for that, I'm just going to configure the setup. So first we'll configure the VNet, and inside we'll configure the Windows VM. Similarly, here also I'm just going to configure the VNet with VM, and also in the second virtual network, I'm just going to configure the load balancer as well. So let's go to the Azure portal so that we can log in with this. Yeah. So first, let me open my VNet service. Sorry, virtual network service. So here I'm just creating one resource group, which is something called RAM RG. It's our resource group, and this is our VNet one. Just go to next, and I'm not going to configure any things here. Go to the IP range. Okay, so this is our default IP range, and I'm just going to have only one subnet here and just create it. This is my VNet one. Yeah, so now we can initiate the creation. Generally this VNet creation won't take much time, so it would come quickly. So now we can create the second VNet. See, as per the diagram, we have initiated the VNet 1. So now we need to initiate the VNet 2. So let's go and create it. Yeah, so that VNet 1 got created. So now I'm just going to create the same CIDR range, but I'm just, we should know the differentiation, right? So that I'm just giving it like VNet 2. Then just go to next. Go to the IP address. See, this network range also same. Let's go to next, and review and create it. Okay, so now we can initiate the creation. Okay, so as per the diagram, we have initiated this virtual network A and then virtual network B as well. So now it's a time to configure the servers inside. So let's go to the VM. So there I'm just going to configure the VMs. This is my VM1. This one going to present on virtual network 1, EC2, East US, and availability zone. Okay, so I'm just taking standard security, and I'm just going to take this Windows, which is convenient to check, and I'm just giving the password, and yeah, so it's our password, and I'm just going to enable this RDP. Okay, and so we need to pick VNet 1. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this VM1 in my virtual network 1. This is the IP, and rest all looks fine. Let's go and create it. Yeah. Okay, so now we initiated the creation of VM1, which is going to present on this virtual network A. So now we can initiate the VM2. Okay, in this diagram, they have defined multiple server, but I'm just going to create only single server. Okay, we're just going to check the connectivity. This one literally exposing connectivity privately or not, that one we're going to check here. So that I'm not going to create this two VMs here. I'm just going to place single VM in the backend of load balancer, then we'll check it. Yeah, so VM1, it's in the deployment. So meanwhile, we can create the VM2 as well. So rounds RG VM2. So I'm just change it into standard, give the password, root admin. Yeah. So this is the cred. Just go to disk. Yeah, so now this one going to present on VNet 2. Okay, that public IP looks fine. So now we can initiate the second server as well. Okay, it's under the creation. Sorry, it's under the validation. Now we initiated the creation. Okay, so now it's a time to configure the load balancer once this VM got created means. Okay, because if we gonna create this public private link service, we need to tell the load balancer. Okay, that's a mandatory thing. So once this VM got created means we can initiate the load balancer. It's under the creation. Yeah. Okay, let's go to home. Let me refresh it. Still the deployment is going on. That NIC network security group IPs and all got created. Only VM is under the creation. We'll wait. So now I'm just going to open the load balancer. Load balancer, yeah. So let's go inside and then we can create it. So this one we need to initiate. This one we need to create under the VNet2. So don't forget. Just go to the resource group and the load balancer name is LB1. This is the load balancer name which I am defining here. And this one going to use this architecture, and this one going to be in internally. Okay, internally it should do routing. So that I'm just taking this internal. So if you wanted to expose publicly means you can go with that, but our private link purpose is literally on private connectivity. So that we should take this internal option. And just go to the front-end IP configuration. Here we need to define the load balancers front-end IP, front-end endpoint. So I'm just giving it like my LB IP, like that I'm giving, and here we need to tell the network. So this network and this subnet. Okay, so this one looks fine. Now we can save this. And in this backend code, we need to tell which VM we're gonna map inside. Okay, so we defined this load balancer going to be on this VNet2. So let's give this VP1. So now I'm just going to add the VM. Yeah. So now that VM2 comes. So let's go here and then add it. Just save this. We have added the backend pools as well. So now we need to configure the load balancing rule. This one should do traffic. This one should do distribute the loads via 3389. Okay. So this port, I'm just giving here 3389. And also it should do the health check also in the same 3389, because I'm not going to configure any web service inside. If we're gonna configure web service means, which is fine, but I'm just enabling this 3389, which is RDP. So here we can give it like a rule 1, and remaining stuffs are looks good. Let's save this and just go to the outbound rule. In outbound rule, we are not going to initiate anything. Just go here and we can, yeah, it's validating. We can create it now. Yeah. Okay, now it's under the creation. Now we can take the remote for our Windows VM, okay, which is present on virtual network A. So far, what and all we initiated? This one we initiated. This network configurations we initiated. VM configurations we initiated. Load balancer also we initiated. Now, two things we need to configure. One is private link service. Another one is private endpoint. These two things we need to configure, and then we can expose the connectivity between these two. Okay. So let me go to the VM interface. VM1. Yeah. So let's copy this endpoint. I'm just copying this mstsc space -v. So root admin. See, one thing you should notice here, this VM endpoint also 10.0.04, and this endpoint, this VM endpoint also same 10.0.4. Okay, both have the same private IP. Let's see what's gonna happen. So now we took the remote. So now it's a time to configure the private link service. So just go to this option, private. Okay, now we can configure the private link service. Yeah. So now we are in the private link service page. So let's create the new link service, and the main important thing is, as per the diagram, it should present on VNet 2. So let's create this under VNet 2. So I'm just giving it like private link service 1. Okay. So then just go to the outbound rule. Here we can select our load balancer. Yeah, it would select. Okay, actually I created the new endpoint. Also, we can skip that endpoint. So I'm just taking the load balancer endpoint and the subnet, and then the access security, which can be role-based access control only. So we can, if we wanted to switch to another visibility means, we can change it, no problem. Yeah, okay. So now we can initiate the creation. So yeah, it's under the creation. We'll wait for it. Now it's in the deployment. Okay. So now we can configure the private endpoint. This private endpoint must be on VNet 1. Okay, our private link service got created. So now we can give the private endpoint, private endpoint 1. So this one would create a new NIC, network interface card, and here we need to select the private link service, which is Microsoft Network private link service, which we need to book. And here we need to take the link service. See, this is what our link service that I'm selecting here. And here we need to pick the VNet 1. Okay, so this private endpoint should present on VNet 1, and then this private endpoint service should present on VNet 2. So then just go to DNS, go to tags, and now we can initiate the creation. Yeah, the validation is going on. Now that validation got passed, so we can initiate the creation. Okay, now we are in the VM1. So this one would load. We'll wait for it. Okay, just before we have created the private link service and then private endpoint. Generally, if you have enabled auto approved means this link one, this private endpoint would automatically link, automatically connected. So if you didn't configure the auto approval means you need to approve by manual. Okay, I'll show you. This endpoint is under the creation. Wait. Yeah. So now that endpoint got created, just go to the private link service. Just go inside. See, now the connection is one. Go to the private endpoint configurations. Yeah. See, now I have enabled the auto approval. So if you are not enabled auto approval means you need to approve the manually. Okay. Once you created the private endpoint, that would initiate the request here. You need to select it and then you need to approve it by manually. Okay, so that NAT configuration, okay, which just looks great. So now we can go to the load balancer endpoint. Yeah, so this is the load balancer one. This load balancer hat. Sorry, actually this one is no need. So I'm just taking this load balancer endpoint 10.0.05. Let's initiate the request and keep this R and 5. Yeah, so now it's asking me to define the credential. Let's give the credential root admin and password. Okay, let's initiate this. See, now we accessing that VM, but literally this one present on different network. This VM present on different network, but we exposed connectivity privately. We accessing the VM privately. So if you wanted to know the private IP means, just go and open the CMD. Just search it like config. Sorry, IP config. See here the private IP is 10.0.04, and here also we can check. We can check it in Azure portal itself, and I'm showing in command prompt interface itself. IP config. See 10.10.0.4. Okay, so this two VM located in different network. If two VMs should communicate, but both are located in different network means you can go with the VNet peering. But in that VNet peering, both networks should have the different CIDR range. After that only you can expose connectivity across. And also this property, this private link would allow us to communicate same CIDR VMs. Okay. In addition to that, here we can take some security things as well. So those all we'll see in an upcoming part. Yeah, that's it guys in this video. Yeah, thank you everyone. I'll come up with an interesting topic. Yeah, thank you everyone. Bye, and then don't forget to subscribe.